My name is Matt. As you can see, I'm here with Susanna Beatrice and Dian Matuka. Both of them are the founder of Dearmouring Arts. And this is the, I don't know, third or the fourth webinar in this series of Dearmouring Arts webinars. So we have different themes. And today we have the theme about emotional release. So with different sub-themes. So what is an emotional release? It is safe to let your emotions out, appropriate or inappropriate ways of doing it, how to get into it, benefits and shortcomings of it, plus an exercise to demonstrate the process of getting emotions out. To introduce ourselves, I give it to the lady, beautiful Sana next to me. Okay, dear.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, everyone. Many familiar faces and many new faces. Happy to see you. Thank you for coming and sharing this evening with us, with me. So my name is Susanna Beatrice, and I'm the co-founder of Dearmouring Arts. And I want to start with saying today I feel a little thrown off. I've been working the whole day. My frontal lobe is tight. I don't feel so sharp. I'm a little kind of anxious and nervous in my body. Yeah, so I want to bring that into the field, talking about today's theme. So what about me? In short, I'm a lifelong seeker. Love and live for exploring myself and supporting other people to live fully and freely as they want and they can. I've been on the path for 25 plus years and been through the ups and the downs. Really, my aim is really to embrace all there is in life and as much as I can discover and explore. Yeah, there is much to share, and if you want to know more, welcome back. Welcome to my website. Welcome to Connect. Yeah. So thank you, and thank you for being here, Dian.
Thank you, Sana. I give it to the maestro, Dian.
Okie dokie. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dan. For those of you that do know me, hi. I've also been on this path for very, very long time. And actually today it's a very appropriate, I was just sharing with my team before this meeting started. I was dealing with anger. Today is a day of dealing with anger and how do I actually deal with it. So yeah, it's cooking. I'm very charged today. Emotionally, I'm very alive. So I look forward to this conversation. So that's really, I think the smooth ride in, you know. And personally, seriously, if you have any questions about my path, please ask me. But for now, I'm gonna pass it over to you, Matt.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Matt. I'm a guest teacher in the Dearmouring art. I teach consent and touch and different communication styles. And I'm really excited about that theme. I love emotional fluency. I love to create emotional fluency. So Sana and I, we are friends since 2010 or so, or we know since 2010. And we had many times this conversation that this is like a sport when we just feel shit. Just like, how can we support each other to feel even more shit so that we can actually dive through this, how we feel. And it's most of the time not how we feel, it's most of the time the internal resistance against how I feel. And when I just allow the resistance, then the feeling in itself just like popped away. So the important for me is, becoming a really pro in the sports of allowing everything to arise, whatever there is in feelings and emotions. And by saying that, I would like to share at the very end of the webinar one specific thing that has been saving my life, specifically in the emotional way. And this is, what is the difference between feelings and emotions. And we talk about that more at the end. And if you want to know what the difference is between feelings and emotions, please stay tuned till the very end. I will tell you.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. So I would like to give it to you, Sana, or Deanne. You can choose. You can have a little battle or a little fight who is starting first. What's your take on that topic of emotional release? So pick anything. What is emotional release? Why is it important? So take your own kind of dive into that. What is important for you about this theme, and why are you passionate about, and why are people here? What do you want to tell them?
Okay. Well, for me, being in connection, in a healthy connection with my feelings and with my emotions helps me to feel more alive. Yeah. And I love to feel alive. And kind of got thrown off the horse here a little bit. I love to feel, basically. I love to feel. And so many times, and I think it's important that people start to learn to feel more, especially in a society where we're so much in our heads and in the mind, where we lose connection with the body. We even think that body mind is something separate, yeah, but it's not. Like, this is us, yeah, the whole package. And how much more beautiful life becomes when we feel ourselves. Yeah, it's healthy, and it's only unhealthy when we repress it, when we deny it, when we make it something wrong and ugly. Yeah, this is the only time when it comes out. This is when it comes out in distorted ways, because otherwise we get numb or we get explosive. Yeah, this is the unhealthy way. And for me, I'm very emotional. Like, I'm very emotionally connected, or very alive. Yeah. So for me, it's my compass. I love to feel. Like, I love when I need to cry, I cry, even if I'm in a supermarket or on a bus. And of course, it hasn't always been that way. Yeah, I remember when I was in my 20s and I started to work with my anger, and I thought that I didn't have anger. I was like one of those, no, I'm super happy and I'm so kind. And of course, I had my like outbursts once in a while, but generally I saw myself as a like very peaceful, not angry person. Is there anybody who can relate here? Like, I don't have any anger. Yeah. Or you ever heard anybody saying that? No, I don't have any anger. Yeah. Raise a hand. Anyway, long story short. So I remember doing like an Om meditation, this 3-hour dynamic meditation, which is fantastic. Yeah. So it's 3 hours where you dive into all different kinds of expressions and emotions. And the first phase in the beginning of this exercise is stand in front of another being and just like ruthlessly screaming and shouting, like you have consent, that to just be brutal. And I remember it was so powerful to come in connection with my anger that I actually fainted. Because my body, my nervous system was not yet trained to feel the force and the power of anger. Yeah. And it was so fascinating to see that how actually unconscious I was about the anger that I actually had, and the capacity the anger has when it's channeled in a healthy way. Yeah? And nowadays, I'm going to wrap this up, but nowadays, I love it. So I'm one of those who do in our trainings, I do the anger transmission, because I love to go into this raw, fierce power, like Kali force. Yeah. And for me, that is wonderful and healthy when it's clean. Yeah. I stop there and pass it on to one of you.
Yeah. And whenever Sana's doing that, getting in this forceful anger expression, then Deanne and I sitting kind of shaking in the corner and hoping we're not getting...
It's not about us, you know.
Okay, Deanne, giving it to you. So what's your take on this theme and anger or feelings and emotions?
Feeling into my past. So I was born in Yugoslavia, and I grew up kind of going to the wrong side of. I wasn't very kind. But what happened at 23 is that war started. And so I had to flee. I had to leave my country, my girlfriend, my family, my friends, my business, everything within half an hour. I literally just, I was gone and never came back. And so what that did, it cut me completely from the head down. So there was no emotion, there was no feeling, it was only action and thinking. And I remember when I was about 28, 27, 29, where I realized that actually something was really wrong. And I had to start crying, I had to start feeling. And so I went through a phase of borrowing saddest movies, videotapes that I could from my friends, and watching lots of sad movies, Schindler's List and stuff like that, to just try to get into emotional release. That took me on a journey until I was maybe mid to late 30s, where then actually I got in touch with emotions properly. But so I know the journey from not feeling anything to feeling things. And I guess the reason I'm saying it is because I want to highlight the fact that there is nothing wrong with not feeling. It's, you're not, I wasn't wrong, and you're not wrong if you don't feel. You're not less of a human. It's just sometimes circumstance of life is so strong that the body cuts off because it cannot deal with the strength of emotions that run through it. So I guess I'm saying it to those of you who may be in a similar situation, that you feel there is a lot of emotions in your body that you cannot access, and you may be beating yourself up or giving yourself a hard time not being able to do it. Relax. Relax and start working on yourself, and accept the fact that maybe it's not a good idea to start feeling emotions because your nervous system might not be able to take it. So I'm gonna put a pause on here for that. I just wanted to put that piece in as a beginning of the conversation of kind of emotional release. Over to you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Dean. My take on that is, you know, I'm German born, and I had a grandfather who said, just like, you just bite your teeth and squeeze your butt cheeks, and then you just like go through it and you don't feel. So we have this feeling or this imprint, kind of just like, you know, as boys don't cry, and then in, you know, the Indians doesn't feel sad, and you know, all this kind of conditioning and stuff. And I was 29. I did a breathing session, and in that breathing session, my sadness opened up. And I don't know what happened. I dropped into this deep ocean of grief, so the ocean of tears, and just asking, have you ever dropped into the ocean of tears? Just like, there's not enough tears in this lifetime to cry them all out. And I dropped into that and was so intense, so overwhelmingly intense, that I didn't want to get out. I was crying for 2 hours or so. It was just so intense, and, you know, eons of suppressed sadness was coming up in myself. And I remembered the situation when I was a kid. I was probably 6 or 7. I got from my grandmother and my mother. They were just like looking at me and just like making just like, yeah, you don't cry. Just like, you're always crying so much. Stop crying. And I just remembered that I just made a commitment to myself. So from today on, I stop crying. I never cry again. And that was breaking up, and I had such a relief, and that was so liberating. And yeah, so that's this kind of the healthy dynamic. And still, I'm German. I'm kind of an engineer. I have kind of mapped out the nervous system as much as I possibly could in the training, and explained different things from different perspectives of rational understanding. And one very, very important thing that I would like to throw in here right now is that when our nervous system, or when your nervous system is in this area where you are not feeling safe, you don't have access with your rational thinking mind, what is there to protect you, and your feelings at the same time. And we think sometimes that we need to sort out our feelings and emotions with our thinking. We're trying to repair, we're trying to fix and heal our feelings with our thinking process, because we're thinking something is wrong and we need to oops, sorry. This is just back? Am I back? This is annoying. This is annoying. Shit. And
break it.
break it.
Yeah.
So what I want to say by that is that when we on the not safe side of the nervous system, we don't have access with our rational thinking mind to our feelings and emotions. But when we are safe, on the safe side of the nervous system, so when we relax and at ease, we have access to our so-called noticing part of our brain, to our feelings and emotions. So we can notice them and we can access our feelings and emotions by becoming aware of them as they are. And there we can become as well aware of how we resist our own emotions. And the resistance is always the way to go, because this is where the inner battle is happening. And if this inner battle is not in your awareness that you might resist your emotions or feelings or other people's emotions or feelings, then you might have found yourself in the way of where you say, you make me feel and it's all your fault what's going on in me. Or you have heard that from other people pointing their finger towards you to saying, you make me feel. And I'm just curious who had this experience. So this is where we want to tap in, why access to our feelings and emotions is healthy and how to access them. And yeah, so want to give it to Sana and Deanne. Anything you want to add there before we move on?
I love your geeky way of separating and describing things.
You anything to add, Deanne?
I just wanted to say to people, welcome to our show.
Yeah.
Basically, those of you that don't know us, three of us are really kind of a little bit like wild beast. You know, we don't really conform to social norms, and we give ourselves permission to be absolutely ridiculous sometimes, just because it feels good. So welcome to that. Don't take it personally, or do it if you want, but that's what it is.
I think that it is. Yeah, sorry, continue.
Well, which is also bringing us to, you know, the emotional release. Really, if you think about it, emotion is just energy. I mean, okay, so this like cliche energy in motion, but it's just energy. And so emotional release, when it's active, when the emotions are flowing, really is just energy in motion. So if you like, a healthy or balanced emotional release is an ongoing, if you like a deflating the bubble, deflating the pressure that builds within a system. So going from, at least in my life, from completely blocked and choked and like unexpressed in every possible way, that resulted, for example, in not being able to move, to dance, not being able to talk in front of people that I was confronted with, not being able to literally just like in every no creativity, nothing. So going from that extreme to the other extreme, which is total kind of overflow of energy flowing out, which then we're going to get into a little bit later into appropriate and inappropriate ways and timings to do the emotional release. Sometimes it's appropriate and sometimes it's not. So like we have these two, if you like, black and white, and everything in between is gray. So I just wanted to put in that when you watch us work and when you watch us talk, three of us, we give each other freedom to express the energy into motion quite a lot, and sometimes in bizarre ways, because that's how it comes out. So I'm gonna put a pause on it, and Sana, you can take over.
Yeah. Yeah, because feeling into that, I mean, for me, it's really like you say, when we are denying ourselves the expression of life, of energy itself, this is when we get cramped up, we get tight, we lose creativity. And also for people being depressed, I'm generalizing, yes, I don't know for everybody, but often there is so much mixture of emotions that are repressed, so people don't really know what is what anymore, and then life itself is not moving, and that creates a depression. So that's why it's healthy to be in connection. Like, who doesn't want to be happy and laugh a lot? Yeah, it's not about being happy and bypassing. It's just like we want to feel everything. Yeah? And if we don't feel everything, we cannot choose, like, I just want to be happy but I don't want to be angry, because that's not authentic. Yeah. So I love this just as a metaphor to see how the body is like energy strings, energy lines. Yeah. And every time maybe there is a trauma, maybe there's a shock, maybe there is a situation. I mean, we're human beings, and we're getting exposed for all kinds of things on a daily basis. Yeah. That can be that we get shut down. Yeah. And with age and with time, we get tighter and smaller, and maybe we laugh less and so on. Is there anybody in here who can notice that? Like, I'm actually laughing less nowadays. Yeah. Raise a hand. Nobody. No, that's wonderful. You're healthy people. Love that. But it's classic, people get older and older. I can notice for myself as well, and probably that's a maturity. Yeah. But to remember that if there is a resistance to the emotion, it's like, okay, I'm actually denying life. Yeah, I'm actually denying myself to feel alive. Yeah, so how can I turn that around? Like, how can I use it as a springboard to express and open up more, to create more a path of openness? Yeah. And I find it like sometimes when I coach people and there's so much in their head, and I try to figure out life through their head, but there is a disconnect. We cannot really be in connection with life as it is if we keep on repressing ourselves. Yeah. So there is this almost like the ugliness of being emotional, or the fear of, I'm not supposed to be emotional. Yeah. But it's wonderful. Yeah. Matt.
I just becoming an old grumpy Grinch.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to feel. So what I want to say is, at this point, we all have this. We all have a nervous system, yeah, and the nervous system works in a hierarchy in all of us. And we have all this social conditioning, the social engagement system, how we engage with each other. And most of us have this engagement, like Sana said, just like we don't do anger. We don't do sadness. We don't do fear. Then is something wrong. And when feelings and emotions come up, we just need kind of therapy, or we need healing. And something is broken when we are feeling beings. And the first step that I promote is, when it comes to emotions and feelings, is radical self-responsibility and radical ownership. That we are all sensing and feeling beings, and we all have emotions and we all have feelings, and acknowledging that. And the more we can acknowledge our own feelings and emotions, we can acknowledge other people's feelings and emotions. And the more we resist our own feelings and emotion, ergo, we more resist other people's feelings and emotions. So we avoid what other people want to feel, because we don't feel comfortable about ourselves when we do that. And this is the first step, going into ownership. And the way how to do that is getting into the so-called low level of feelings, not waiting till we explode in rage or in ecstasy or in anxiety or any other feelings. Just like when we start noticing when they're coming up, being capable of expressing them. Oh, I start feeling this, or I start feeling that. So at this point of the webinar, we would like to opening up to questions.
There is a
There
good
was
one.
a good question that just bridged what you just said. It's perfect.
Yeah, from Veronique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with
Oh,
it?
there was a question. So
yeah, you
yes.
can continue on that, Matt. So do you think you could give some real examples on how to deal or handle our emotions and feelings in real life, not to repress them, not resist them? Matt, you want to start?
Yeah, I can start with them. So it's exactly what I said, you know, when we put a lid on our feelings and our emotions, and I want to make sure, and I say that later on, when we put a lid on our feelings or emotions because they are different, yeah, and we depress our feelings and emotions, we're getting depressed, and all these feelings and emotions, they're leaking out on sideways, yeah. So therefore, our feelings and emotions, when they cook inside, they need to find a way to get out. And when we wait too long, we literally having a pressure cooker, you know, and on one point, this thing will just explode. And the way to deal with that is, as I said, you just lower your awareness, your capability of noticing them earlier. So as I said that before, and whenever they come up, you start addressing them. And the most important thing here is, instead of saying you make me feel or this and that make me feel, is I feel. So bringing it radical back into I form, I notice that I feel. I notice that I feel anger. I notice that I feel sadness. I notice that I feel fear. And I notice that I feel joy. And these 4 different core feelings and emotions, they have all mixes. So sometimes you have 2 of them, sometimes you have 3 of them, and sometimes you have even 4 of them. And the important piece is to dissect which one is the most intense of the feelings and emotions, and to address that first. Yeah, and that is most of the time the resistance.
Yeah, there is. I mean that, and I love that because it's so important to bring it back home. And like, I feel this, and often when I choose that also, for example, if I'm especially if I'm sad, yeah, and I own that, it's like then I show myself that I'm there, holding myself, and that most often allow myself to become even more vulnerable into the feeling, yeah. So that's a great kickstart. And then, of course, if you really feel activated, I mean, use an emotional release tool, for example. Set the alarm for 15 minutes, hit the pillow or scream in a pillow or scream in your hands, or, you know, run to get some energy moving, because then it will discharge. Yeah. Because we don't want to get into some non-violent communication bypass kind of. I've noticed that I feel like this, but I'm not angry at all. But I notice I'm a little bit irritated. So that's not to deal with emotions. That's great to stay non-reactive, but what is actually to pay attention what is actually happening underneath. Yeah. So, for example, to go, depending on the intensity, yeah, and depending on who you are, where you are in your practice, where you are with yourself. I mean, go train martial arts, find somebody to be vulnerable and like, hey, can you hold me? Can I just cry in your lap? Figure out what you need and learn to ask for it. Yeah. And for example, today I was also really irritated, and I just noticed I had this spin in my head, and I was like, okay, the only person suffering right now is myself. Yeah. So I paid attention that I was agitated in my mind. And then I was like, you know, hunting my own tail like a little dog. And then I was like, this is stupid, you know. nobody benefits from this. Like nobody benefits. And then to just also learn to switch it. It's not about repressing, but it's to understand that sometimes the mechanism I trigger myself into a trigger. So it becomes almost like a hijack. And I think this is what happens many times when emotions becomes unhealthy, or the expression, and we actually hurt ourselves to some degree. To learn, okay, is this valuable? Do I need it? Is it relevant? Can I pause it until later, or can I actually just drop it? Yeah. But to do it in a sense, it's not repressed, but it's a conscious choice of removal or pause or just acceptance. Yeah. Does that make sense? Please raise a hand. And if you have a question, please write the question. Thank you. Thank you for responding.
What's happening in me while you're sharing, guys, is I'm looking at the dynamic of, you know, in this social at work, socially, we have these norms, we have these codes of conduct, we have these like behavioral do's and don'ts, and we have shame, and we have upbringing, and we have trained like suppress your emotions, don't get angry, don't show it. So a lot of this stuff is to do with actually training yourself. I call it emotionally, well, growing up spiritually also is actually allowing myself freedom to express whatever is inside me. At the moment, I'm feeling it. And if that means in group of people, if that means in front of a police officer, if that means in front of a priest, if that means in front of a mom or dad, that really makes no difference, because I need to be myself. I need to learn, and this is a learning process. This is like a spiritual gym. You start working, this doesn't happen overnight. For me, this was almost, well, a decade of practicing and putting myself time and time again in situations that are so uncomfortable, they're so wrong to my ego, to the current state of my, if you like, emotional expressivity, that I had to really push myself through the barrier of, oh my God, I can't do that. Oh my God, I can't do that. To the point of actually not caring, because I am who I am and I can't help it. I can try to hide it, I can suppress it, I can pretend it's not happening, or I can just be honest and show how I am. And so the game, if you like, the game of life, at least for me, it's getting to the point of making my life as easy as it can be. So it's easier to be me. Before, it was super hard to be me because I was bottled up. I was bottling up so many energies, emotions, dynamics that I felt I couldn't express. And then it was a very long road, actually still is, of allowing myself to be me, allowing myself to just express everything that I feel, that I think, in a moment that I do so. Now, it's easier said than done, because that thing comes with it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're going to feel released and eased up and in a flow and healthy. On the other hand, I'm running a real risk of being extradited and being pushed back by society and being ridiculed and being basically laughed at, because people in today's society, they're not used to people being free. Everybody has these social masks, everybody is pretending, everybody is hiding behind a suit, and it's like everything is fine, when inside they just want to kind of go, fuck you! So, or kind of burst out crying or whatever, you know? So this is where courage comes in. This is where it's first, like when you go to gym, you start lifting little weights. You don't start lifting like 100-kilo weight because you're gonna crush yourself. So rather than going out there in a public and start fully bursting open all of your emotions, you start with little ones. And so you start practicing and you start exposing yourself more and more. And over time, that the weight that you express will become greater, to the point that you can actually, and this is the exercise that I love doing, actually changed my life, which is this needs to be done with a group of people, where the group of people represents everybody in my life. So there is my mom, there is my dad, there is my ex-wife, there is my child, there is my priest, there is my first teacher, there are all of my school kids, there are all my business partners, there are all the people that bullied me, there are all the people that I bullied. Everybody in my life is in front of me. Who am I? How do I be me in face of all these different, because I'm one person with a girl that I have a ding dong with, I'm one person with my priest, I'm one person with my daughter. There seem to be like different roles that I assume. So if I put them all in front of me, who am I? How do I be me in front of all these different people? And so this is where life gets really, really interesting, because that's where the growing up process really begins, where I start claiming myself for the sake of being me. I can't help it. I need to be me. I cannot hide all life. I cannot suppress myself, because I'm either going to get sick or I'm going to be unexpressed and unhappy. And basically, what's the point of life if I can't be me, wherever I am? So this I wanted to put in the this is where the radical thing comes in. That's what's radical about life, because people in general are not radical. They're sheepish, they're cowards, they're hiding. Yeah. So I invite you to start getting radical, to start living really fully. I mean, we all three do, but now I'm talking for myself. Because that's the road to freedom. That's the road to happiness. That's the road to really just being okay with being yourself. So I'm going to put a pause on that.
I would.
I want to bridge. What do you want to do?
First of all, I would like to acknowledge Veronique and that was Maidi and Lisbeth to ask questions in the chat. Please continue doing that. But I would like to as well invite you to opening up your microphone and ask the question here in the room. But before we do that, I would like to ask you, Sana, if we want to do the emotional hand release.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, this is a
and
perfect
I want to say one thing, which is to bridge what Dion did, and then we can do an emotional release technique. And oh God, I would like to try another thing too. Let's see if we go there. No, but that's really one thing that we promote in Dearmouring Arts, and that is really important to us, and that is authenticity. Yeah, to that each and every one of us are a unique being. We have a unique expression. It doesn't mean that everybody has to go out and be loud and radical. Like, we have different flavors, but to create a space where people can explore themselves for who they are. Like, why don't we want to be who we are and not being made wrong for being anything else? Yeah. And so that's one part. And then the other part was, that's probably many of you already know, but if you don't do it, like to just start to notice when, there's this expectation almost in society when we ask, like, how do you feel today? Yeah, I feel good. Is this like random programming? But what happens if you're actually being honest? Like, oh, I feel shit today, or I feel sad, or I feel low, and just notice the response of people. Like, people get, a little uptight, or they brush it off, or you hear that they don't even hear it. Like, oh, that's great, because they're so programmed to respond in a certain way. And to do this pattern interrupts on a daily basis, just to explore yourself, and also like have those conversation with people. What's wrong? Why do I have to feel, good all the day? Whatever that means,
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic to just put this kind of to add to that. It's just I work with this specific thing with waking up the hands, and I always say, you just, if you want to feel more pleasure, you do that on a daily basis. And then on one point, because it just kind of hijacks into the feeling center, into the brain. And what people then start to notice, just like, well, I was thinking I feel more pleasure, I feel everything. So feeling more doesn't mean that you feel always more pleasure and joy. No, when you feel everything, you feel everything.
Yeah, you just get better at feeling.
You're getting better at feeling, and that includes everything. There's no running away from yourself.
No, just expanding the container, and everything is welcome. Yeah.
Sana, do you want to do it? The emotional release.
This is actually a great mid through webinar thing. Yeah. So you're up for doing a little emotional release tool? Raise a hand if you want it. If you want it, raise a hand. Raise a hand. No, don't. Yes. Say please. No. So actually, this tool is amazing, and it's amazing both if you work with people. And I'm going to show you two variations. So it's great if you work with people, and it's brilliant for yourself. Yeah. And the two variations I'm going to show you is that one is a little bit more of a sneaky version. If you, let's say you're on a bus or in a family gathering, and you can't really, hide somewhere, but you're really frustrated. Yeah. So you can use this one that I'm going to show you. You can go and hide behind the curtain. You can go into the bathroom. You can go under the bed. I mean, you can just go and hide somewhere. Because what is useful is to just discharge when we're triggered. Yeah. Just give it a light discharge. Yeah. Without screaming in somebody's face, or without hurting ourselves. Because this is the thing. If we don't release it, as you know, many of you, if we don't release it, we just carry it, and it sucks, for our system. So And it's also great if for example, you're nervous. So I can do it before I get on stage or before I'm going to do something. When I'm like, I can't really contain myself, then I do this hand scream, as we call it. And some of you have probably done it, yeah? And one more benefit is if you work with clients and they are not really in connection with their emotions and they need to get kick-started, yeah? You can use this tool, and you can use it before starting a session, in the middle of the session. You can use it multiple times, yeah? And you can pass it on to them as well, yeah? Does it sound great? Raise a hand. Yeah? All right.
Rock and roll, Sanna, do it.
Rock and roll. So what you're going to do is you're going to place one hand in the other. Doesn't matter if it's left or right. And then you're going to inhale deeply. I can show you very short, and then we're going to do it together. You're going to inhale, take as much air in as you can, and then you're going to just blow straight out into the hand from the hara. So you're going to cleanse your lower belly. Yeah. So I'm going to do it very short. Then you feel relaxed. Then you also want to move the body, because when you move the body, you stir up the energy. So if you're stagnant and stuck, you want to shake it loose, yeah? So, yeah, you're already going. That's great. And I'm going to show you the second variation too, and then we're going to go first and second, yeah? So the first variation I did without sound. Now I'm going to do the second with sound, yeah? So again. Yeah. And then you feel relaxed, a little bit bubbly, and more present, yeah?
I wonder how it would be for everybody who is doing it if you're feeling comfortable to opening up your microphone, that the world can hear you.
Yeah.
Feel totally free to do that if you want to.
And if you don't want to, you unmute, you say, no. So let's go for the one with sound, yeah? Are you up for that? So if you're up for unmuting yourself, we're going to do like a group community expression, and just notice how you feel now. And then you can choose to stand up, but be careful because you can get very dizzy. If you're close to a floor, probably you're close to the floor, but if you want, you can sit down on your knees, yeah, because then you can shake your butt. Yeah, usually I would do it standing on my knees, but now I can't really show it in the same way. So find a position and put one hand into the other, and you're going to inhale and then exhale and just sound out loud in the hand, screaming from the hara, yeah, or sounding from the hara, from the lower belly. So 1, 2, 3. Shake it, scream. And then just notice how you feel after this. Does it feel relaxing, peaceful? Yeah. Give me a thumbs up if you love it. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like it. And if you don't know, you can take your thumbs. Somebody's shaking their head a little bit. That's okay too. Henry said it doesn't find it relaxing at all. Brilliant. Tell me what you felt. Because sometimes it stirs things up, and it can be, even when we start to feel, it can, if we have a lot of control in the body, it can start to create fear, yeah? So some people actually, when they don't really feel. Sorry?
Yes, it was just for me, it's very, it's like applying another new kind of constraint on my body. And so instead of dearmoring, for me, it's just putting another armor the existing armors. It's
so then I have a new one for you then.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
You hug yourself or you say,
Ah, I like this.
yeah.
But
So
hang on a second. Hang on a second. It's
so you
basically.
know, wait
Wait.
just 1 second. So what you can also play with, it doesn't need to be so forceful. Like find a way, if Henry would like to do it again, just find a way that kind of feels good for your body. Yeah. And it comes for all of you, like explore what works for your body and not. Yes. We don't want to put more armor, pressure, stress to come from performance, but connection is the key. Yeah. So thank you for sharing, Henry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Henry, I just wanted to put my 5 cents into your question. This thing is actually screaming. That's the point of this. It's called a silent scream. So the idea is to actually let it out, to let it rip in the places where you cannot scream because it's not appropriate. So if you have it in, this is what you're doing, breathing doesn't help because it needs to come like, whoa! But you just cover it so it doesn't sound that loud. This is the point of this. So you would only do it if there is, for example, anger or like frustration or those kind of energies that are built up in the system. You would use this exercise for that purpose. Do you understand that? You're muted. I can't hear you.
I was saying that it was no. Unfortunately, I do not agree. But this is related to my past. For me, keeping my screaming, or I would say that I passed a lot of years with silent screaming instead of doing this. Oh, I was doing
So you mean that you used to shut it down? Is that what you mean?
Yes,
you used to repress?
Yes.
So that when you're putting your hands over the mouth is because then you feel you block yourself again. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just it reminds me my very sad past.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. But really, like, this is actually a very, thank you for pointing this out, because this exercise is specifically designed for when there is a lot of energy in your body that you need to discharge, and it's not appropriate to scream. Like, for example, like Sana said, you're at a Christmas dinner with family and you get really frustrated and like, full of energy, but it's not appropriate to scream the house down. Or you're in a bus and suddenly like you have a phone call that makes you so pissed off that you just want to scream the house down, but it's not appropriate. Then this is the technique that you can use to discharge the excess energy. That's the point of it. Obviously not appropriate every time, and it's just one way of doing it. There are many other ways of expressing emotions. This is just one exercise. Yeah.
So maybe you can explore, Henry. I don't know much about your past yet, but after this, you can go and take a pillow and you put the timer for 5 minutes, and then you really allow the voice, because it's useful to use the trigger when we feel that, oh no, I'm doing this to myself again. And instead of implosion and making ourselves smaller and repress, it's like we want to move the energy around. So we want to create expansion.
Let's have some more questions.
Yes, so this is exactly what I would suggest. So now we had a little bit of an emotional release as you felt some resistance against speaking public online here on Zoom. Now you have the opportunity after this release, or you can do it before, opening up your Zoom, and we invite you to ask a question.
No.
So if you have any question, if you want to express anything, please feel free. We have the next kind of 10-15 minutes for open questions and answers, and you will get an answer from the three of us, and you will notice how different that is. Please, Veronique, you're the first.
So I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I have a question about very often, I can feel the tension inside of me. I'm not sure what it is, because it takes me a little bit of time to try to figure out what's going on. So when you're in a situation like this, you're, I don't know, among people or in a workshop or even, you know, talking to friends or whatever, and you start feeling the tension. I know that for me, to try to figure it out, I do it afterwards. I can't sort it out while it's happening. So do you have a kind of a recommendation when it happens while, you know, the situation is actually unfolding?
Can I take this one, please?
Absolutely.
Yes, go for it.
So the advanced way of dealing with emotion, any kind of emotion, is to actually, you know, the analogy is you have a stage and you have an actor, and then actor comes on a stage and he plays the role. So the emotion is going to be expression of the emotion, or the release of emotion is going to be them on the stage doing whatever they're doing. The energy that actually causes emotion, the energy behind the prana that actually creates and moves emotion, so is the energy before emotion becomes emotion. It's the root cause of the emotion itself. This is what you start observing. It will start, every emotion obviously will originate in a different part of the body. It will have a different sensation through the body. It will have a different feeling. It will have a different temperature. It will have a different, almost like a crystallized structure. The energy itself, the prana, will have a different quality. It could be more airy, it could be more fiery, it could be more watery, it could be more earthy, it could be more different qualities of the energy. It is very, and the reason it's advanced is because first I need to give myself freedom to express emotion just so that I can actually be with it. The advanced way of dealing with it is to actually catch myself before emotion becomes emotion, start observing the energy and just breathe it out. Simply breathe, like collect it with the breath and release, collect with the breath and release. And I can do it if I need to become conscious of it first. If I get hijacked and I start being an actor on the stage, it's too late. But I can always stop and actually go back into observing the energy that runs the emotion. We can also do this with thoughts, the energy, the prana, the actual material that the thought is made from. We also do that too, but that's a different topic. So with the emotional thing, you can just, wherever you are, in a meeting, at work, with whoever, just breathe it out. Like connect to the energy behind the emotion. It's almost like disassociating from yourself a little bit, not disassociating, but stepping back, separating yourself from the emotion, and then observing the energy. It has a very specific, very detailed, very real experience, because that will become emotion. It will just come out, but before stay with the energy of it and try doing that. Doesn't make any sense.
So the first step, well, yeah, I don't think I've actually experienced that before, which is to analyze or feel.
It's not analyzing.
What's behind. Well, it's not analyzing, but it's just already to be conscious in my mind to understand what the steps and the process are.
Perfect.
You know,
Perfect.
which is when I start to feel a tension, to actually pause and get in touch with what's behind it. So this is a concept that I didn't have before just now.
Beautiful. So next time, it can be happiness, joy, it can be sadness, it can be grief, it can be anger, it can be anything. Just step back, like remove yourself from the stage. Don't be an actress, and just start observing, what does it feel like? It's in your body, it's in your system. What quality is it? How do you perceive it? And just focus on that rather than actually feeling whatever you would feel.
Mm-hmm.
Start playing with it and maybe let me know how you go with it.
I mean, a simple like an analogy of it can be that usually we feel emotion, we become it. Yeah. So this is me, an emotion. But the practice is to like, okay, I'm here, and this is the emotion, and this is the gap between me and emotion. So I separate myself from myself, to some degree. So I become more observant, but it doesn't mean to bypass. It doesn't mean to bypass. Yeah, we don't want to bypass ever. That's why it's mastery. It's like, okay, so I'm curious. Okay, what's going on there? Like, do I want to become this or not? Do I want to let it hijack me or not? So I'm the master of the game. Yeah.
It's a choice. Suddenly you have a choice whether to act it out or not.
Yeah.
That's
But another thing,
interesting.
yeah, it's deep and it's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating when we learn to master our emotional body and system like that, and then we get hijacked and we lose it, and then we master it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But another point, what also can be if we are in a situation and we're not really clear what's going on, it can also be to, like what Matt said, to, okay, I notice something feels a little strange. Yeah. Can we just pause here? I mean, it depends on the situation, the person, what is needed. Everything is relevant. Yeah. But to place a hand for me can help. So I'm very body oriented. So for me, touch works very well. And that I do sometimes to self-dearmor as well. It's like, okay, if I have like, I have something, then I just put my hand onto it. Yeah. And that helps energy to move. Or sometimes it helps me to just isolate or crystallize what's actually going on. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It does now. Yeah.
Okay, so my 5 cents to that is, if you have the opportunity to remove yourself from the situation, to just like be in your own bubble and recognize what is actually mine here, and then kind of crystallize it out and start noticing, okay, this is going on. And then, of course, that's from case to case individually, if you can express it accordingly or not. But then being aware of it. And if you don't have the opportunity to remove yourself because you're in a business meeting or with, you can't move out or you can't step aside, and then you recognize that you catch yourself afterwards, what you were actually feeling. When you start noticing that you cannot remove yourself, but you're getting irritated, this is how I deal with that. I kind of as if I'm having a dialogue with myself. So right now is not the right moment. I cannot deal with that. But afterwards, I will reflect and I sit down and then I just go deeper into that, what was going on. But not abandoning myself, what is going on, and just like pretending nothing is there, or I don't feel anything, or try not to feel anything to be inappropriate in a social situation.
I love that, actually, Matt. I'm going to just wrap it up with that, to not make our feelings wrong, because sometimes we just feel and they are not forever. It's like, now this is happening. Yeah. And to acknowledge that and allow that. Yeah. Also, when others try to make our feelings wrong, like, come on, like, I just feel what I feel. There's nothing wrong with what I'm feeling. Yeah. And depending on how it's expressed and how it's used, of course. But if somebody's in ownership, it's like, but actually I don't feel it, I feel irritated, or, I mean, that's my feeling, it's my experience. Yeah.
Can I ask a question here?
Please, go for it.
Thank you, Veronique.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
if you're in a situation, you get very angry with somebody, a person, you have like 2 choices. Either you separate yourself from the emotion you have, like the anger, or you stay with the anger and act out in the anger you're in. But what about if you separate yourself from the anger and try to rationalize, act focused and rationalized? Will you then take the feelings with you afterwards and work with them yourself and try to figure out what happened? And if so, what shall I work with? Do you understand the question?
Yes, I take that from here.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So what I would suggest at this point is, when somebody is doing something that makes you feel angry, that you literally, instead of putting that on somebody is doing something that makes you feel angry, just bring it straight back to yourself and recognize, I'm getting angry, I'm getting furious, I'm getting crazy, and just own that feeling that you have when you start noticing that, without making somebody else responsible for how you feel. Because anger is a really, really important emotional and feeling and expression in our body that we need. Anger is to protect ourselves. Anger is to be capable of keeping our boundaries straight. And when you feel that in that moment, you could literally check in, is there somebody else actually violating your boundaries? Is somebody attacking you? Is it something that you need to protect yourself? Or is there somebody just doing something that is triggering something in yourself where you're literally getting triggered with and then project it on them because you can't deal with your own trigger, because they're two different things. So become aware of, is there really an invasion going on in your system? Is somebody really crossing your boundaries? Or is somebody just triggering something and you can't deal with something in yourself? That's the two things I would recommend you to have a look at.
I would also
So,
add.
yes. So what about the first? Thank you for the answer.
You're gonna get
The
somewhere.
first issue. The first issue when somebody is actually attacking me and I'm getting really, really furious. Either I could act on that or I can bring it with me and think it through afterwards. But
No.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
and then I give it to you. So the important piece is when somebody is really invading your boundaries and you're getting angry, the deepest expression of your anger when you set a clear line, a boundary, is saying no. Yeah, and no is a full answer, is a full sentence, doesn't need any explanation, and you can fully stick to your expression of your boundary. And if this is not being respected, you need to put a little stronger feeling behind your no here. This is a no. Yeah, and you might feel and find even a deep internal yes to that no, to that boundary, so that you actually can feel joy by expressing your anger and keeping your boundaries. That's very rich.
I guess it depends on who's in front and what's the
true.
situation and what is going on, Dan, do you want to
Yeah, I do.
unpack before and I can take it down after?
Yeah. Basically, how I see this thing, Morgan, is I need to be able to be with anger in the first place. So I need to train my nervous system and my energetic body to be with anger. So be in a situation where I get so fucking angry that I got red, that I like see red, and I just want to chew on someone's neck until they're dead. And be with it, not respond to it, do not act upon it. So observing what I was talking about before, observing the physical sensations of anger in my body, they have presence. I get hot, my skin gets red, my breathing increases, my heart rate increases. This is speaking for myself. And then I need to be with it. I just need to hold space for anger within me. I don't know, have you ever taken any psychedelics?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yet.
So in that case, maybe you don't have the experience that I'm kind of talking about, but essentially you need to put yourself in a situation where you get angry and just breathe and be with it. Just feel it. Allow that powerful, fiery energy to run through your system, to completely consume you, and just be zen. Just be with it. Do not act upon it. Don't externalize it. Don't express it. Just breathe through it. And so as you do that, this obviously it's a spiritual gym that I was talking about. You need to kind of practice that. You get to the point that when you get angry, you can just be angry. And everybody else around you will notice that you're angry, but you won't be dangerous. You won't be spitting it out. You won't be expressing it. You will just be with anger. Does that make any sense?
Yep, it does.
And also, so what that does, Matt was sharing about your boundary. Well, when I become angry and allow myself to be angry, that energy creates such a powerful field around me that others perceive it as a sign of don't fuck with me. It's a boundary, energetic boundary that everybody can feel instantly that says don't fuck with me. I don't have to say anything. It's in your eyes. It's in the energy. It's in your stance. your spine suddenly straightens up, your voice gets clear, your eyes are super sharp. Those are the kind of benefits of being angry, but not actually expressing it. Do you get me?
I do. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, both of you covered. I'm going to talk into a little bit. For me, it's important to see it from many different angles. Like, it's not one situation, it's not one person, it's not, I mean, it's more people in the room, it's more in front. What is it about? What is my story? Where am I? What work have I done? What have I not done? What do I need to practice? What is appropriate in this specific situation? Yeah. And now you disappeared, Morgan. That was
Yeah,
thank you.
sorry.
You don't have to. No, that's okay. But I was just looking at you. You were gone, and I didn't know who I was looking at. So it's very. But if you can express it in the moment, I like this. Okay, I feel really angry, and just like, okay, I feel it. Like Dia said, feel it and express it. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be like with force. Yeah, and I find it healthy because there is this fine balance of repressing it or being with it and not kind of until you master it. Then I believe it's important to move it, yeah, or at least for me it is. Like I said, then if I'm mindful in the moment and I'm like, okay, I'm really angry, like I need a break, like I need to go, or I just set the boundary, no, I don't want this anymore, whatever. Like I try to contain myself as much as possible. Sometimes, you know, we get overridden by emotion, yeah, but then to for sure deal with it afterwards if needed. Like I said, go do martial arts or just hit the pillow, go out in the woods and hit a tree or something and just allow voice to come out. Yeah, so the energy moves. Yeah. And then also practice, like Dejan said, to feel the energy and go deeper and deeper. But again, it's different. It's just different depending on the situation, who are in front, what are the patterns, what is coming up, what I need to deal with. Yeah. What is true here? Do I need to put the strong boundary? Maybe I need to do that. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's like a no answer. Yeah. Does it help you?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for
So
asking.
I would like to hear much more from you all, because this is where it starts to get juicy, and we are just like getting slowly to the mark where we just have 15 minutes left. And I would like to acknowledge and appreciate you all for your curiosity and jumping in and asking questions. And I would like to hear much more. But we just want to move on here at this point. And I just want to say, in the training, we have processing circles, yeah, and where the three of us sitting and then people stepping into the circle, and then they're expressing what is going on in the moment in their life. And people who are in here who have been to the training know that the processing circle in the training is one of the key dynamics when it comes to Dearmouring, because there's no bullshit. There's no way of hiding. There's no way of being not real. And I see Fabienne smiling and laughing. It's pretty intense, and it just gets you straight into authenticity, truth, and honesty. Yeah. So at this point, before we're just going and talking a little bit more about what Dearmouring training has in storage, I just want to share this little piece about the difference between feelings and emotions.
Thank you for remembering.
Yeah.
So feelings and emotions. So feelings are for dealing what is here and now. A feeling has normally 60 to 120 seconds when you express it fully, and then it's gone. It's like a little child. Yeah. So this is what we all need to come back to be capable of expressing our feelings as early as possible, that they don't get repressed and we're sitting on a pressure cooker. So when you start to feel fear, sadness, anger, and joy, then you need to, when you notice that, to express that. Because if you don't do that, then fear becomes insecurity, sadness becomes weakness, anger becomes aggression, and we're creating just something that calls a low level of drama, yeah, where we're all getting stuck again and again, and then the finger pointing and the blaming is happening. But emotions they're lasting longer than 2 minutes. They're lasting sometimes an hour or a day or even several days. And emotions are for healing the past. So when you having an emotion you're cooking on with somebody and it just moves again and again and again and again, be sure, and it's getting triggered and you do the finger pointing thing, has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with you and healing something from the past and looking into something that needs some, call it healing or something to be aware of. Because if you having access to your feelings, so the 4 core feelings, then fear becomes the magician and you become present and focused. Anger becomes the protector and the warrior energy. Sadness becomes intimacy and is the lover energy. And joy becomes the visionary creator. Yeah. So the earlier you have access to your feelings, the easier you can relate with yourself and other people in all situations of life. So again, feelings are for dealing with now. Emotions are for healing the past. These are the 2 different things. Feelings lasting maximum 2 minutes, emotions lasting longer than 2 minutes and coming back, and they need some healing. Everybody gets this distinction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So I think it's time we need to start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that.
So if you found this interesting and if you want to explore getting in touch with your emotions, feelings, and inner dynamics more and catalyzing yourself deeper until there is nothing left but you and God as one, then I invite you to our training in October. So we have this 11-day, I think this is going to be the 18th edition of it, if I'm correct. We started it in 2016. This baby is well run in, well practiced, and super potent.
I'm dropping a link here right now.
Great. You're very welcome to come. You also, if you're not sure if this is for you, please get in touch with us. Write us an email. Matt just dropped a link into the chat box. And one of us just request a conversation, like 20 minutes, half an hour on Zoom, one-to-one, and we can answer all your questions, concerns, to find out if this is for you or not. Essentially, the training is designed to start training people to become Dearmouring practitioners in the first place, and it's also designed for people who wish to catalyze themselves deep and to get as real as possible. So those 2 categories of people, if you like. What you can expect is deep honesty, like Matt said, super intense space, very loving, very friendly, and very real. So, yeah,
very real.
Yeah, there is no other way of saying it. I mean, basically, 3 of us are there to inspire your reality and to
By example.
basically, yeah. So, I don't know, you 2, do you want to say something else about it? Or shall we ask one of the participants from the
group? I would like to hear, because there are a few people, Fabienne, Simon, people who have been in the training. Are you willing, Erica, if you have been in the training, are you willing to say a few words of your experience?
Yeah.
Dearmor yourself, unlock the microphone and speak.
I would like.
Yes, please, Fabienne.
It's like Diane said in the beginning, a bit of the 3 of you, bit of the creative people, but it was worth it, really. It was in a safe environment, loving people. I love I'm much more myself now, much more myself. No blah, blah, blah. All these things, really great. The circle, I also had the same, like Susanna. I had no anger, the good girl. Me, angry, no. But oh my God.
It came out.
It came out. Yes, it came out.
Ooh la la.
So I have much more confidence in life because I can be myself even in the house with my two sons. I'm the boss now, and they listen now. And it's great. So if you don't have to doubt. These people are really super. That's why I'm here again.
Thank you, Fabienne.
Yeah, really. I mean it.
Thank you so much.
Love you, and the support afterwards also. So don't doubt it. If you have any questions, they're always there to help you. Yeah, really super. Thank you very much. Love you very much.
Thank you so much, Fabienne. Appreciate.
I think there's space for one more if somebody wants to share a little bit.
Simon or Erica?
Just a few words is good.
Simon.
Aura wants to talk.
Okay, can you hear me?
All right.
Yes.
Aura.
Hi,
Yeah,
Aura.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. My experience in the training was that I really learned a lot about myself. I learned where the armor in my body is, what are the things that are creating the difficult emotions that I have. And what really was important is that I'm no longer afraid of my own or anybody else's feelings or emotions. And that's something that really changed during the training, not necessarily only the basic level, but also the additional courses that I've taken.
Aura, would you mind if I tell them your condition? Because I think you're one of the most amazing participants I have witnessed. So Aura actually cannot see. Aura is blind. And
see like us.
If you think that you might not be physically fit for the training, you definitely are.
Yeah.
That there really is no condition that cannot be taken care of. That. Thank you, Aura. And it was really beautiful to see you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Aura.
Thank you so much. Right. I have another meeting in 5 minutes. We gotta wrap it up, or I gotta leave.
I need to go and pack my kite. I left it on the beach.
So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for taking
Thank you very much.
being with us tonight. And please reach out if you have questions or any topics, that you would like us to cover. We enjoy very much to do these webinars and to just share and support and give wisdom and whatever works. So please show up and please send a request. If you, like Matt said and Diane said, if you are interested in the training, you can have a call with one of us. Like there is no obligations, like obligation-free call, just to explore if it's for you. And I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Would like to say the same. So please jump on that call. You don't have to do the training if you jump on the call. Just like get to know me and just ask questions and just like check it out. You're more than welcome. I'm happy to gift you 15 minutes, whatever your thing is. So please take advantage of that. Thanks for joining today. I'm more than happy to welcome you either or, and enjoy your day and love yourself.
Yay.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you so much.